Next article, Article 4. Fiscal year 2025 town operating budget. Shall the town raise and appropriate an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrants and other appropriations voted separately? The amount set forth on the budget posted on the warrant or amended as a vote in the first session for the purposes forth therein totaling $45,859,596. Should this article be defeated, the default budget of $45,901,420, which is the amount of the appropriations contained in the operating budgets authorized from the previous fiscal year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, 10, and 16 to take up the issue of revising the operating budget. If passed, this article requires the town to raise $23,653,283 in property taxes, of a tax rate of 3.696 for fiscal year 25. Any questions from the council? Any questions from the budget committee? Any questions from the public? Seeing none.
Can I, since there were adjustments, I just want to let everyone know what happened, if that's okay.
Sure.
So this was updated. I believe I sent you all the copy earlier today with the final selections we had. And if you look, the operating budget decreased by $171,841, where the default budget decreased by $360,580. The reason for that is we went from having 20 open positions down to 13. And those individuals have made their elections on health insurance, dental insurance. So I wanted to make sure we got those in there to make sure that we were taxing at the correct level and not overtaxing in that aspect. So I allocated it based on what we currently have available, or what our current staffing is, the open positions, and made that. In addition to that, you will see that the cable revenue decreased. I had included the the warrant article we'll talk about later in terms of the cable. If you look, it's $32,500. That was accidentally included in there. The only other thing is I exchanged emails with Maureen, and she recommended some adjustments in the management services. So I looked at my budget and moved some of it to a more appropriate line. Thank you for those suggestions.
Thank you, Justin.
And the other ones, like I said to you, we will look at working into next year's budget to try and make it more easy for everybody, or more understandable for everybody, and put it in the appropriate places.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a copy of the warrant articles, except it didn't have any figures on it, or very few. And now we have updated figure, which is 45 million and change, which does not include warrant articles that may be passed. Which,
Right.
Correct.
do we
This
know-
is just the operating budget.
Do we know what the total of all the warrants, if they were to pass?
That is, if you look, there should be a
It's like $6 million, isn't it?
the total. So wait,
No, you tell me.
I guess I'm not sure I understand what you mean in terms
Well,
of.
all the warrant articles that are in there that require money, tax money,
You're looking at a tax, so what we would raise through taxation, including the veterans exemption,
Yeah.
the Taxpayer Relief Act, the minus 200, and then an overlay of 171,000.
I haven't. 'Cause
You're looking at a
I don't even
total
have
of,
the figures on those.
you're looking at a total of $27,042,033,
In warrant articles?
if everything passes.
I think it's
But-
three, I think it's roughly $3.5 million, excluding the budget, Justin?
I believe so.
Yeah, so we're only talking about the operating budget now. We'll talk about
Did you
each,
say 27 million?
excuse me,
That's for all the warrant articles.
excuse me. We're only talking about the operating budget now. Okay? We'll talk about each one of the warrant articles. The question is if all warrant articles pass, what will the tax rate be?
If all warrant articles pass, and including the overlay, the 200,000 from UFB to lower the tax rate from the 2019,
As presented right now.
and the veterans exemption, you'd be looking at $4.22.5.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, look, we're all working together here, even though sometimes it doesn't seem that way. But,
But we can only discuss one thing at a time, sir. I
oh,
think, you know,
I'm discussing, are we discussing the budget?
the operating budget, yes.
The operating budget,
Yes.
not including warrant articles.
Yes, sir.
Are we including warrant articles? Okay.
Those will be
So,
talked next.
You're asking what the number is, including the warrant articles. We're only talking about the operating budget. We're gonna talk about each of the individual warrant articles as we go forward.
Yeah, but I think it's important for the general public to understand that the budget is one thing that they have to deal with, and we haven't seen the $45 million figure before this evening. They haven't seen it either.
Well, we have
Right.
been discussing it for quite some time now.
No, that 45 million has been around since November 4th.
Oh, it has.
Absolutely.
I stand corrected.
Okay?
Okay. It's just.
It's,
that-
well,
I want to make sure.
the 45 million hasn't, it's been around, it's changed based on personnel hires, insurance, other aspects.
I thought
That's,
it was more like 42 million, but at one point
so
it was.
it's 40 million for the general fund operating, and then 5.7 for the sewer. The sewer is offset by 5.7 in revenue.
Sewer's paid for by.
Yes,
users.
but again, going back to gross appropriation, we have to account for
Appropriate
it.
for it.
Yes.
We need to continue on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just some clarification, John.
Whatever it is, yes.
On the operating budget, when we hire more personnel, all right, and we add to the budget, that increases the default budget for next year, correct?
Yeah, which, by the way, I hate default budgets.
I know you do, okay? But I just want to make that clear, because,
If it had been up to me, we never would have gone to SB2 and done a default budget.
but the default
I
budget,
was voted over on that.
but the default budget continually grows as we pass everything and
Absolutely.
increase everything.
It's the worst piece of legislation ever written in the state.
Yes and no.
How do you really feel?
Yes and no on that one.
It does.
So everybody's clear.
It takes local
So,
control away.
so if you look at like the expendable maintenance trust fund, the capital reserve requests, pickleball courts,
That
those
doesn't increase the budget.
those don't increase default. Those are a one-time approval, and that's why you see them every year. Why we ask for them every year, because we have to get approval every year for them.
Okay.
But yes, the personnel would be increasing default. I just want to make sure that was.
All right. So on the expendable maintenance trust fund, can you just roughly, I don't want to detail, roughly what does that cover? Just a rough, Justin.
Yeah. So
Just so,
it
so
covers.
when people look at that maintenance trust fund,
So an example would be the library roof. We just replaced that, got it fixed.
yep.
It covered that.
So if we needed work done at the Lions Hall, that expendable maintenance trust fund would help cover that.
Well, it could.
It could, because it's a town building.
It's a town building. Or
Okay.
if we had to fix the, if we had a problem with the bathrooms at the senior center or
Right.
anything along those lines, or if we had a major leak here, that wasn't covered by insurance, anything along those lines.
Okay. I just want that cleared up, because I know years past, all right, if it was like fire department, they had their budget, they had to cover all that stuff. Now it's changed. So we have the expendable maintenance trust fund to cover those repairs.
The larger
town
repairs.
Yeah, we tried to get the cost more predictable.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no one else? Seeing none, I will accept the motion to move the operating budget to the deliberative session.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Council, those in favor, say aye.
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 So at 5?